Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, session 237 episodes of this thing in which I try to teach an undertaught part of screenwriting, which is the process, the actual work of taking thoughts and feelings and dreams and ambitions and turning them into an outline and then into a rough draft and then rewriting that draft until it's readable and you can show it to someone. That basic process has nothing to do with what the script's about, has nothing to do with whether it's a TV script or a movie script. It's just the writing process, the process of getting yourself to make things into scripts. And I believe that that is the key to all the other great things you want to do. If you can't write it into a script form, you can't make it a great script. You can't make it a best-selling script. You can't do any of those things. So I just want to talk about that part of it, the mechanical, day-to-day, scene-by-scene work of writing things into a script form. This is not the only way to do it. It's not the best way to do it. It's just the way that I figured out for myself in a 25-year career working in TV and movies. There wasn't anybody with making YouTube videos or even writing books on this part of the thing. So I decided on my way out of the business, I was going to leave this behind for those who come after me to maybe make it a little easier, save you some time figuring out the tricks and techniques and tools and skills, because that's all you got. That's all anyone can teach you are the tools, the skills, the theories that they have, and then you've got to take it and figure out what works for you. There is no one way. There is no right way. The right way is the way that gets it done in a healthy, productive way for you. So I'm just going to tell you, let you watch over my shoulder as I walk through it so that you might be able to pick up some tricks. If you really want to know what I think about screenwriting, the best way is on my channel here on YouTube, the first 3 playlists: Screenwriting Essentials, Screenwriting Tools, Skills, and Craft, and The Process, Being a Writer. Those are where I try to show you in little 10-minute lessons. I try to take a topic, for instance, dramatic action or flashbacks or genre, and I say, what can I give you that can help you do your work? And I put it into a little 10-minute lesson. Very practical, very simple, very easy to work with. Break it down into parts. You use the parts as you like. That's the deal. Some quick hellos. Hey, Ches. Hey, Donna. Hey, Nathan. Good to see you. I was watching the first couple of vids in this series yesterday, finally moving into my first longer script. Yes, that's the point. The point is I'm doing this so that years from now, if somebody's like, I kind of want to watch somebody do this, it's there. That is the deal. The other thing that I wanted to ask you all, I released a very short video. It's called A Question for You, and I mean you. And if you take a chance, get a chance to look at it, the basic thing I say in it is this: what would be your ideal time of day or day of the week for me to live stream? Like, what's best for you? I was just doing it at the time that was good for me, but I'm changing up my schedule a little bit. And I thought I should find out if everyone likes doing it a lot earlier or everyone likes doing it on a Saturday. Maybe I can accommodate that. Let me see. Answer in the comments of this video or that video. But please put it into the Pacific time zone. Go onto your computer and Google time difference between wherever you are and the Pacific time zone, and then figure out what time that is for me, because I have to be in my time. I have to do it at, if you say do it at 2 in the afternoon, but your 2 in the afternoon is my 3 in the morning, I'll do it at 2 in the afternoon. It won't help you. So just try to tell me what is your ideal time of day or day of the week for me to live stream. If I get a preponderance of evidence in one direction, I might be able to shift towards that a little. I will be doing, I won't be doing Monday through Friday anymore. I'm going to be doing, I'm going to try and figure out some other days, maybe Tuesday, Thursday, maybe Monday, Wednesday. I don't know. We're going to see. I'm looking to see. That's what's going on. Hello, Larry. So in the meantime, let's get back to work. All right, that was my notes to myself. It says the audio system is muted. Can you hear me? It was a little weird. It said audio system muted. I think it said system audio muted, which that's fine. You don't need to hear my little pings and pongs. All right. So what I was doing here is I was just trying to go through all the bits and pieces that I had noted while I was working out the pilot. I would sometimes think of something and I'd be like, well, that's going to happen later in the series. That's not going to happen now. In order not to lose it, I wrote it down because that is really, really important advice that I try to give frequently, which is, ready for the graphic, write it down. Always write things down. If you write it down, then you will, first of all, not lose it. You will accumulate your wisdom and creativity, but also you'll think of more stuff because you have a place to put it. If you have a place to put things, you think of more things to put there, just the way the brain works. So, good. Thank you. Yay. All right, good. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of you in the UK, but if I could do it at like 2 or 3 hours earlier, maybe that would be good for you. Let me know in the comments. Okay, so the point is I did this document. It's called Series Outline, just to give myself a name for it, which was the point of it is it's the outline of stuff that might go into the rest of the series, not into the pilot. I still haven't figured out how many episodes or what's going to happen when. So I just wanted to but I needed a place to put it down. If you have thoughts, you will come up with more thoughts if you have a place to put them. So I did that, but I just did it as I went along. I never organized them. I never reread them. So right now, I am now going through that and rereading them, formatting them, organizing them so that I can get a sense of what I want to offer in what I am calling the pitch document. That's this thing here. The pitch document is what I call the thing that you would give somebody if they said, I love your pilot, what's you going to do with the rest of it? I like to, first of all, have a pitch, of course, but then to have a document that I can give them with the script or leave behind after they've read the script if they're curious, to say, these are some of my thoughts. Anyway, hi, Seb. Nice to meet you. Welcome. Okay. Combining 3 scripts and ideas into one feature now. Yes, if you do that, if you have a place where you're doing it, if you have an outline, if you have what I call the overview, which is where I just put all the thoughts that don't fit into the outline, the overall thoughts that aren't scenes, it helps. Your notes document, is that just putting random thought and then you aim to get it all out of there? And yes, not all. I aim to get what's valuable. Notes is just, and I use this less and less lately because I just work in the outline or in the overview. But the notes document is literally just a place where I wrote down every thought as I had it. Like literally, like right now, I'm like, here, let's do this. What I would do is I always put the date, just so I have some idea of what's going on, when it's happening. Set to today. Okay, so I'll say the next thing I need is the pitch document. How do I get that in order? What goes into it? The general shape of the story, the ending, the arcs for the main characters, especially Mad and Norm. Okay, so tone, style, what goes into the general shape of story? Major twists, reveals, events. Big events, only big. Okay, so anyway, the point is that's what I do. I take these notes. Now, do I ever need to look at this again? No. If I have something I need to look at, I will copy it into one of the documents that I actually look at. I don't look back at these notes. I just use them as a place to think. I personally believe that it helps to start to literally talk to yourself on the page. The more that you can get used to getting your thoughts onto the page, the better. So that's what for Chess's answer, the notes document. I do not take all of it. Now and then, if I see if there's a bit that I think would be good in the outline, I'll copy it, paste it into the outline. But just that little bit. Main thing about the notes is, like, right now I have 112 pages of these notes. All right. So, hello, Marlatoso. And good Thursday to you. Oh, that's so nice. And happy anniversary. That was a very thoughtful gift. So yeah, great. It's a great book. Was there ever a point where you wrote anything without a big outline or anything? Like the same way you hear about how quickly Rocky got written. Okay, my personal feeling about things like Rocky is, well, first of all, Rocky is a good example. A lot of people who write their famous script in like 2 or 3 weeks really fast, they've been actually thinking about it, going over it and over it in their mind. They'll say this. They'll say, I was thinking it through and I told myself the story and I imagined it and then I wrote it down real fast. That's fine. But what they were actually doing when they were going through it in their mind is outlining it. They just didn't write it down. Now and then somebody will, on pure whim and inspiration, write something really fast. Usually you have to rewrite it then. But the answer is, have I ever written something that fast? Yeah. When I was young, and I still had an outline. I did a rewrite once that I did in like 3 days, but that was a rewrite, so I had something to work from. For me, that doesn't happen. I don't write that fast. I write in bits and pieces over time. They ping pong around in my head like billiard balls and knock into each other and create more. I write by accumulating, by building. I don't just like get it all in my head and then write it down. Hello, Malika, and thank you for your comment in the other video. So the answer is, I am not saying if you can write Rocky in 3 weeks or whatever it was he did, cool. If you are the sort of person who can hold an entire script in your head, basically, and then get it all straight and then write it down, do it. I'm not saying don't. I'm saying my way of working is for somebody who couldn't do that. So there you go. My answer is, I personally, my system is what made sense to me, and I'm passing it on in case it makes sense to you. It is not the right or only way. I cannot emphasize that enough. Yeah, cool. Thank you. I think the thing about writing like impulsively or on the stream of inspiration is that works until it doesn't. And especially if you're in the professional end of things, you're not allowed to do that. It's like somebody will come to you and say, you need to write this outline that other people made, and you need to write that very quickly, which ideally you should sort of get inspired from that and go. But very often someone will say, okay, cool, you did that. We like the first third of it, but we want you to change the entire last half into a romantic comedy. So you're not just like, oh, I got it, I see it, I write it. You have to actually think, well, how am I going to do this thing that they specifically asked me to do? That's where you tend to run into trouble with the I'm just going to go with my feelings thing. However, that, like I said, if you got that, if you're plugged into your brain in that way, do it. For gosh sake, don't ever stop doing something that works. I'm only trying to talk about what do you do when it doesn't work. That's all I have to offer and all I should worry about. Good day, Errol. So the answer is that I am in the course of my writing, you will have seen when I was writing a scene, sometimes I would get an idea and like, oh, down the line, we should show this bar. So now I'm just trying to organize all those things. Some of them are things like just, you should make a Scooby-Doo joke. Yeah, fine. So I'm just trying to like go through because I'll get these. Okay. Elm's story arc in the series. Okay, we'll just give that the headline. What is Elm's story? This is a question. I put questions in question form. He drops out of the story quickly because he does not want it. No, that's dumb. He drops out of the pilot quickly. He believes George killed himself. This is interesting. This is interesting indeed. Okay, so Xena leaves evidence in. Wait, I'm going to wait to say happy birthday to Word Charm. Hey, yes, please. I hope you have a great dinner. But it's great to see you. Happy birthday. Let's all say happy birthday to Word Charm. Happy birthday. And I'm even going to say it in a graphic. Okay. Happy birthday. There we go. Glad that you are here. I hope you have a great dinner. You will not miss anything that you cannot catch up on later. Enjoy your life. A vital part of writing is enjoying your life. Plants. Okay, so Xena, plants, evidence, suicide evidence to stop cops investigating. Okay, so we're going. Boom. That'll be good. Oops. Boom. Ba. Ba 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 ba. There we go. There we go. Boom. Yes. Okay. Word Charm. Look at that. You got a bunch of happy birthdays. Hi. Thank you, ACC friend and Pedro. A lot of people are saying hi. And Aspen Runes. Good. It's great to see all of you here. Lovely. Okay. So. Madeline chooses her future. This is down the line. Madeline analyzes Norman's romantic problems. Okay. Okay. So that's a lot about. Yeah, this is not really important. Okay. Okay, this is an old leftover thought. See, this is interesting stuff. At some point, I thought Deakins is actually one of the team, that he was in on their team. I have later tried to figure, I realized that that's not a good idea. Okay. The romance of getting to know you. That's just Madeline and Norman. No, that's not an event. That's a possible event. That's a type of event. Day work, the mystery. Who framed CSK? CSK. So you see what I'm doing here, by the way, just in case you're. I've got all these notes. They're just these gray things that I put them in this gray text because that's just my basic body text here, and I'm trying to turn them into outline events, scenes, actions. If they're not an action, I'm going to throw them out. If they're an action that I don't want them to take, I'm going to throw it out because then I will have a list of pieces that I may or may not use. That is the goal right now. Word Charm says, thank you, everyone. And I thank everyone. It's nice when we have a community and the community is kind to each other. Boom, boom, boom. This is good. Zena argues for total social media engagement. She's saying, I want everything we're doing to be on social media because that will keep us safe. Okay. Okay. Norman and Mad visit one of his ex-girlfriends. Okay, this is another thing. Down at a certain point, Norman and Madeline go on a road trip together. I answered that just recently, like sometime in the past week or so about plot twists. I am actually working on a video specifically about plot twists. The main thing I'm trying to remember what I said there. The basic message I have about plot twists is you don't have to have a big plot twist. Like the definition of a plot twist now is something that totally undermines and changes, makes you rethink everything you have known up to that point. As opposed to what used to be a plot twist, which is just a development in the plot. A thing happens, it changes the direction, it gives you new information. Those were all called plot twists back in the day. Now they're just story. Plot twist has become just Hollywood has got a dependence on plot twists. Plot twists are not necessary for a good story. In fact, the danger of plot twists is they cut your story in half because everything before the plot twist turns out to be not true. And so therefore, you only have half a story to get into the truth. And the point of a story is to capture and communicate a truth. So that's my warning. Oh, go away, Chat69Z. Okay, banning you. Banned. Okay, good. We had a bot. I banned a bot. So Micah, the main thing about plot twists is if you are going to do one, the main thing you have to do is make sure that the wrong thing, the thing that is going to be twisted away, is believable, is worth following, because we are going to be investing in a story that's going to turn out to be a lie. When you do that, you need to completely believably have that story work, and then completely believably have the other story work. That is very hard. What usually happens is that the plot twist is clever, but both sides of it become kind of shallow and unbelievable and superficial. They're not great writing. Um, so, would say the thing you have to do with a plot twist is make sure that it is powerful and meaningful. I would argue there have been some good ones. Sixth Sense is a good one. The thing about the Sixth Sense is that it's not really a plot twist. It's a plot twist that's so late and is the very last thing that happens in the story. I don't think that's a spoiler at this point. That you're really just rethinking everything you have seen. It's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of thing. It's okay. The Prestige is actually one that's remarkably meaningful. In other words, I don't want to spoil the Prestige, so I'm just going to say it's a very complex plot, and the twist is built into the pursuits and feelings and goals of the characters in a meaningful way. It's not just cool. It's actually the meaning. It's exposing a depth of revelation. That's what you want in there. How do you actually brainstorm it? You start. I mean, here's the thing: plot twists, they don't fit every story. So usually the way you brainstorm it is you come up with the plot twist first, and then you build the plot around it. If it turns out that like you've got a plot, and you're like, oh, I want this character to actually be his own uncle or something, whatever it is the big twist. You have to figure out why. What is it saying? What does it mean about the people? If you just mean how do you brainstorm plots, like how do you make sure that things are developing, I would say look at my videos. I would say building character arcs is a really good one. How to brainstorm is in brainstorming and plot scrap piles. Hold on. And the other thing is really the whole it's you do it in the outline. The best place I would say to think up plot twists is in the outline, because you can look at the mechanics of how the story is building and where, like if you have gone on a certain direction for 4 or 5 scenes, which you will see in the outline, you'll go, oh, we need something to happen to change, to give it a twist. So that's what I would say. The main way that I would brainstorm plot twists is character. Go from character. Say, who are these people? What would they do that would be meaningful to them, that would be unexpected, that would shake up the other people, that would get them closer to their goal? What are they like? What are they, and sometimes the plot twist is like someone breaking or failing or collapsing or ruining things. But those are all plot developments, parts of the story. So those are my thoughts at the moment on that. Okay. Okay, so this is a repetition. Like I said, what I'm doing now is I'm just going through this list and and creating story elements, scenes, themes, ideas, which I'm giving a headline to, like the romance of getting to know you. It's one of the keys to a romantic story, especially to a romantic comedy or a story about people who are meeting. There's a romance to getting to know the other person, which is done in bits and pieces during the course of a story. So I just wanted to remind myself of that. Cool, great, thank you. So what I am doing right now is just going through and sorting out all these notes I made into events, making them into events. They break up, separate. Boom. Okay. See, this is a good idea. This is a good point. There's going to be a now I'm saying this is a third act low point, but there isn't really 3 acts because it's a series. So, but I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to put it here. Boom. There we go. And this is a case where it's, what clue makes Norman and Madeline realize Zena framed the killer and is the killer? Yeah, for instance, this is a good example. Malika, this plot twist thing. I have a couple of plot twists in this story. The first one comes at the beginning, when the killer reaches out to them at the end of the pilot and says, he's not the killer. He didn't do this one. How did I come up with that? I was thinking, at some point I thought, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be interesting if I broke, like if there's a story about people hunting a serial killer and the serial killer calls them and says, nah, I didn't do this. I just thought that was cool. A lot of plot twists will come from, wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be different? That's really, really key. Wouldn't that be different? And then you start to think, well, how would that work? What would happen if he did? So that's the thing. And the other thing I said was, a lot of the twists are who done it? Who's the villain? Who's behind what's wrong here? And one of the things I decided pretty early on was to make one of the group the bad guy, the villain. That one of the team hunting the villain is actually the villain. Then I had a team. I was like, who's going to be? And I thought, well, I want it to be this hyper ambitious young YouTuber, social media influencer, and that's how I came up with the character Zena. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this is a big one. How does it end? Okay. Possible final crisis. The killer has a gun. See, these are all questions. I'm just going to leave that as, this is a possible... Okay. Hello, Kirby. I am just going through a pile of old notes while I was writing all the drafts that I've done. Whenever I thought of something that really didn't belong in the pilot but was going to happen later in the series, I threw it into this document. I am now going through that document and trying to sort out that stuff into story events. Okay. Okay, and so one of the things I think is in the final crisis, the killer has a gun. I think that's a definite. One of the things that I realized is if you've got yourself a nemesis and he's like this 80-year-old guy, he's not very intimidating, physically at least. And so, yes, he might be outsmarting you, but he's not going, like, if you get into a fight with an old guy, you're going to win. So therefore, I needed the killer to have some substantial threat. Guns. Guns, unfortunately, are the thing that makes anybody lethal. And so I just wanted to make a note to myself, the end is going to be about an old man with a gun. One of the ends. There's two ends. There's two layers of villain. There's the serial killer, and then there is Zena. This is a possible ending. CSK shoots Xena. That's a possible ending. Don't love it. This is just a there's this bit I thought of for a horror movie I was working on for Blumhouse that didn't get made, but I really liked this bit, which is that two people are fighting. They have a sharpened broomstick as the weapon. So there's this long wooden stick with a dangerously sharp point, and one of them is trying to stab the other. The other, in order to keep from getting stabbed, grabs the pointy end. So now they can't stab him because they're holding the point and they're keeping it away from them. But then what happens is the person who has the pointy end, they're trying to keep it from getting stuck into them. They maneuver it so that there's a table or a railing or something between them, or even a pole. And they bend the wood until it snaps, which leaves two sharp ends. And so now they have a sharp end and they stab the person with that. I just think that's a very cool, clever thing. So I want to put it in. Okay. Hi, Najo. Yes. Okay. My cue. Oh, yeah. I think it was just a lot of questions and it was big. So I was, okay. Let me go back to it. Boom. All right. The question was, do you write with theme in mind? Yeah. This is one of those things. Everybody says different things. Everybody, different people do it at different times. I mean, different people work different ways. There's no right way. The answer is sometimes yes, sometimes no for me. Sometimes I will start with a theme. I want to do something about how terrible bad politics is. And so I'll then start to think about a story that will convey that theme. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it would be really cool to do about a schizophrenic person who witnesses a murder because no one would know if the evidence of their testimony is real. And then I found the themes as I worked on that. So the answer is anybody who says the only way to do this is if chasing a theme is worse for him, yes, that's worse for him. But it could be great for other people. So my answer is I do sometimes start from a theme. Sometimes I start from a device, a twist, a character. It's always different. There's always different sparks. I believe that all work starts with a spark. The spark can be anything. The spark can be, I want to make a lot of money and be famous. That could be, and then you think, well, what would make me do? And a lot of people, this is the spark. They're like, oh, the movie business, that's a great way to be a writer. I want to do that. Well, and then they write whatever is most popular at the moment. Okay. Hi, Rainy Hammer. Are you working on a treatment or is this just a standard thing to send in with a TV show with a treatment? Okay. That is a great question, Rainy Hammer, and welcome. Okay. So the question here is this a treatment? No. I hate treatments. I don't believe in treatments. I think treatments are evil and should never, ever, ever be written unless somebody is paying you. Treatments are a thing that producers want. They are not valuable for writers because the form of a treatment is a summary, which is antithetical to drama, to dramatizing. An outline is great. An outline, and people mess up and confuse the meaning of treatment and outline. A treatment is a prose summary of a story that you have written. So therefore, it is essentially the back cover of the thumbnail description on a thing that has been expanded to cover every single thing that happens in the story. A treatment can be very short, just like the main motions and characters, or it can be actually pretty detailed. Many companies require a treatment as part of the work. In other words, they say, when you're going to write for us, please, you're going to tell us the idea, then you're going to give us a treatment, And then we're going to say, yes, go write that, and you write that. That's because too often somebody says, I'm going to write this thing, it's going to be really cool, and then they hand them the script and it's a mess. Production companies have a legitimate need to find out what somebody thinks they're writing in summary form. But that does not help the writer at all. The outline upon which that is based, which is just based on creating the scenes for the characters. This seems like a fine distinction, but it's not. If you read a treatment, it is giving opinions on things. It is summarizing. It's a sales document. And as a sales document, it is playing different games than the games that a writer plays in constructing a story. So what you're basically doing is just putting on a different kind of show in writing. And yes, that is a Hollywood staple. It is a part of the business. But if no one is paying for you to do it, do not write a treatment. That is my personal opinion. Lots of people say it's a natural step. They say that because they worked in the business and they thought it was a natural step. If you need to do a treatment, do the outline and then just turn the outline into a summary. That's my feeling. So I do not do treatments. If I am working on the staff of a show and they require me to do treatment, I'll do a treatment, but I hate them. They're evil. They should not exist. Okay. Why didn't the movie with Blumhouse not get made? Well, I'll tell you. That particular movie didn't get made because it was in partnership with a big Chinese company. They were trying to start an ongoing working relationship between Blumhouse and the Chinese film industry, and the Chinese company that was going to be the Chinese half of the partnership was going bankrupt and wasn't a reliable partner. And it's just very, very difficult to work with the Chinese film authorities because they have a controlling government office that all film scripts must pass through and you get notes from the government. The problem is that is a very non-transparent. You don't know why the note will, and the notes will change draft to draft so that you'll get a note, and then the next notes will have nothing to do with the last notes. They may be even from different people, or they just may have changed their agenda. Anyway, it was just getting too frustrating for everyone. You'll hear this from many, many companies. Anyone who's trying to do business with the Chinese film industry runs into a problem because it is a government-controlled industry, and the government has agendas other than the entertainment industry's agendas, which would be fine, in my opinion, if they were transparent about what those agendas are and what the needs are. Like if somebody said to me, okay, you have to have this, this, and this in your script in order for it to be, good for the government. Okay, if you're signing on to do something for the government, do it. The question was, what were those things? And they kept changing. So there you go. All right. This romance ends with the beginning. Some of these, yes. They find discouraging info about George. Yes, that's right. Some of their investigation has to reveal that things are not good. That George is not an absolute hero. Oh, this is just a bit of dialogue that was really funny. Zena and Norman discuss journalism because Zena sort of thinks of herself as a journalist. So, do you even know what a journalist does? Of course I do. Journalism. What is the job of a journalist? To report the story, to speak truth to power, to take down the hypocrites. And Norman just says, a journalist discerns. Zena's like, hell yeah. Do you know what discern means? To tell. Norman, to tell the... Zena, the... Norman, the difference. Difference, to tell the difference. Hell yeah. The difference between truth and lies, spin and substance, to weigh, ascertain, compare, compile, decide. It is a massive, demanding, exceptional responsibility. Zena says, I truly love this shit, for real. So the point being that Zena has given no thought whatsoever to anything because she is not a journalist. She is an influencer. And am I making fun of influencers in this case? Yeah, a little. Because honestly, most influencers are not concerned too much with journalistic truth. Which is fair. Not their job, not their business. Okay. Okay, so some scene is going to be about Norman and Madeline discussing his book. Okay, so Xena is fawning over Norman once she finds out who he is. Only because he will give credentials and class to the podcast. He is not just some outsider, he's a real reporter. Why would she... Oh, she doesn't know that because she not know that? He has concealed it because he is embedded? If so, what has he said he is? Okay. These are questions. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Okay, so this is the arc of... So this is just a general note. Okay, so every episode they have sex, but it's intentional, like a project. They keep finding a reason to do it again very rationally. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's a thought. Joke, hook, more than arc. Nah, that's not true. Maybe. That's what I'm doing here is just going through and finding stuff and saying, okay, I'm going to put this way at the top because this is at the top of this document. I've just got these theoretical. They're not story idea. Like we need a fake outs. That's not a scene. I will come up with a fake out that scene. But what I first have to do is say, oh, I need some bad leads. Okay, what could possibly be bad leads? Which actually answers, it goes back to Malika's question about how do you brainstorm plot twists. The main thing you do is you brainstorm it, which literally, like in my video about brainstorming, I talk about this idea. Like right now, I can now brainstorm on bad leads or false suspects because that gets more specific. In other words, what would be a dead end lead in a murder mystery? Somebody who's a witness, somebody who has some, like I would start to write down every possible thing that my brain can come up with. Bad leads. People who say they are witnesses, for instance. And I would just write them all down. And then I would start to think, well, who, where, when, how can this happen? How will this fit to the rest of the story? That's how I brainstorm. Actually, I'm going to leave that one in. Anonymous tips. That's a good one. Boom. Okay. So, anyway, so that's the answer, is that you brainstorm by brainstorming. Use my brainstorming video. The point about brainstorming is that you choose a specific question to think about. Like, you don't just say, I need a plot twist. You need to say, well, I need a plot twist that is going to reveal the villain, Or I need a plot twist to find out what the motive of the hero is. What are possible plot twists? Then you write down every possible plot twist, and you think, well, which one fits this story? Okay. Oreino, after you create a scene list, you go over the scene list to get a feel for the shape of the story. Can you talk about more how stories shape and how you can assess that as a newish writer? Sure, I can do that. Boom. And then follows, what is a story's shape? What questions do you ask to make sure the shape is good? Okay, well, remember, there is no, this is important, there is no agreed upon definition of the story's shape. That's just my words for it. Everybody has to find their own words for these things. The thing about screenwriting you have to remember is there are no agreed upon structures, ideas, theories, anything, nothing. There's nothing that is universally true about screenplays. Everyone just has their own ways of doing it. When I say the story's shape, I mean the story. I am looking back at it and looking like I will make a scene list, because then I can look at it and say, all right, about halfway through, I want this to suddenly change from city to country. So the shape is that it's a slow transition from urban to, or that this sort of this is kind of a 10 Little Indians. It's a Agatha Christie story that popularized the idea that you got a bunch of people stuck in a place and they're getting knocked off one by one. So therefore, that's your kind of the shape of the story. Or, like the shape of the pilot is to say, it begins by introducing several different threads, and then it twists them together until the end, when when they're all together, and the end of the story is, we are now forced to be a team. That's mentally for me a shape. It's a story of the story. And a way that I can conceive of what's happening. It's not it's not scientific or mathematical. It's not something you stick to, or you have to. It's just a way of thinking, so that you can just say, oh, there's something subconscious in here that we understand. There are certain basic story shapes. Someone building something. The journey up the river or into the woods, somebody who is hunting, trying to solve a mystery. These are all shapes of stories. A romantic comedy is sort of a two people on their own paths that keep bumping into each other. That, it depends. Okay. Yep, exactly. That's it. That is exactly how you do it. And then when you find one that you're just like, ooh, I like that one, then you start to build that one out. Okay. So I think we're down towards the end, and I'm going to say, since we're at the end of the hour, I think we're almost at the end of this document. Should I? Boom. Let's get rid of some of that white space. Ooh, interesting. Xena kills elms. That's interesting. Okay, this is just a joke. All right, because it's based in a comment that Jeff M. made in the live stream. Okay. This is a general theme. Okay, there we go. We have reached the end of this document, and thus I'm going to have to go back over this now and sort of abstract it down, because this is long. This is still 16 pages. I need to get this down to just a couple of beats that I could say, okay, what am I doing here? But at least for today's work, we've gone through this pile of notes that accumulated during the course of the past year and a half while I've been writing, and sorted them into discrete pieces that I can either use or not use and decide which ones are important and which ones are not. That is a piece of progress. All right. Yeah, sorry. No, I don't know. Probably in the end of the month, end of next month. I don't know. Sometime in the next 3 or 4 weeks, probably. When it comes to movies, how do you have like 6? I cannot discuss that now. I will try and do something about writer's pay, but this is information that is easily available on the internet. The pay works that each writer gets paid when they are hired. The question comes down to credit. The credit is assigned by the Writers Guild. Everyone gets paid to do the work. The question is who gets paid when it comes out, and there's the extra income, what are called residuals. In other words, a little slice of the income goes to the writers. And that slice is what gets determined by credits. So if you have credit on the movie, you get a slice of the residuals, and that's determined by the Writers Guild. And there is a lot of detail on the Writers Guild website, wga.org, about how credit is determined. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So, y'all, I am going to see you. Today's Thursday. I will see you tomorrow because tomorrow's Friday, and that's a day. So we'll see you then. Until then, go write something.